Welcome back to Brandon Replay. We're talking with Brandon varsity head coach Brad Zuby. Brad, this is our first show of the year. We're picking it up a week after the season started. Big win on the road at Bay City Central, 49-35. That indicates a pretty wide score. You were up 41-14. And I just want to talk about the game briefly. You kind of let them back in the game a little bit. So kind of give me a quick synopsis about the game, and then we'll get talking about the team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're very potent on offense this year. We like where we're at. We got a lot of veterans on our offensive line. We like the way the skill kids are playing. Our quarterback's into his second year now. So the offense is firing pretty good. I think we've got 8 or 9 new kids starting on defense, though. And, the defense is trying to get shored up and get these young kids up to pace a little bit. So we were prepared for maybe a little bit of a shootout. We got up 41-14. And, the game looked pretty well in tow, and then they scored. They got an onside kick off a mishandled from the front line, just, again, experience up there. They scored, and then we had a turnover, and they scored again. And, next thing we know, it's 41-35. But, to our kids' credit, nobody ever panicked. And, when we got the ball back with, maybe 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, the offensive line just kicked it into gear. We put our tight end in, added an extra offensive lineman with him. And our big fullback, Landon Zull, ended up carrying the ball 29 times for 146 yards. And pretty much the whole fourth quarter was him just hammering it up in there, 5, 6, 7 yards at a pop. And we chewed the whole clock up. And, then the defense got a big stop there at the end. So, yeah, we got a little closer than we wanted, but the boys hung in.
As a coach, you're up 41-14. You kind of put it, I'm not saying you put it in neutral, but you certainly kind of think, well, okay, it's easy bus ride home. And then they start to climb back in it. Where does it?
Yeah, it was kind of there are 2 scores that they got. The first 2 that they got to get back, they happened so quick that we never really had a chance to feel comfortable. So It was just, and we had, every game that we lost last year in the regular season, we had a halftime lead in. So we were a little bit, here we go again type of thing. But, like I said, the kids, to their credit, never panicked. And it was just, once we got the ball back and settled in, we knew we could score. They hadn't really stopped us all night. We stopped ourselves on a couple of, forced turnovers on their part. But the kids were in control of the game, and they finished like I knew we would. And to Bay City's credit, they didn't give up, and they played a tough game, and they were, we thought they were much improved from where they were last year. And, they played a pretty good football game too that's a pretty cool venue out there in Bay City also.
A stadium built in the 1930s. There were 4 of them left. Wisner Stadium in Pontiac, obviously Bay City. Cadillac's got one of all places, which is right there on the lake. And Houseman Field in Chicago, in Grand Rapids. Those are the 4 fields left that were built by an architect that was commissioned by the state of Michigan to build a variety of them. Northern Michigan had one for years before they built the dome. And they used to have all of it is a pretty cool facility.
Yeah, and this week we play up at Atwood Stadium in Flint, which is a really cool venue also. So it's kind of neat. Yeah.
I have a picture hanging in my office here at Atwood Stadium from 1926 when the New York Yankees practiced there and had a baseball game when travel was restricted during the Depression.
Wow.
They're actually 36. It wasn't 26, but Atwood Stadium is there's some history there. There's no doubt.
Yeah, it's cool. Last time we played there was a great day for us too. We beat Fenton and in that Vehicle City Classic. Oh, that's 5-6 years ago now. But it's a fun place to play. It'll be a good time.
Let me think back real quick. When you're on the road, does it give you more panic than when you're at home? When you get to those kind of situations, or is it pretty much the same?
I don't think so. I mean, it's not like an NFL stadium where there's 70,000 people. I think once you get in the game, you're kind of, you definitely. And we have such good support. We had a great showing all the way up in Bay City. So, our fans are great, and they traveled pretty well. And, it's just once you're there, you're just kind of into the flow of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, before we get to Southwestern, let's kind of walk through the program to start with. Let's start with defense, strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah. So, we're doing some things a little differently schematically this year. So, we brought in Garfrey Smith, who was a head coach at Milford the last 4 years. He's joined our staff now, and him and I are kind of doing the defense together a little bit in a joint effort. And we're bringing in some of his principles and mixing them with some of mine. So we have a little bit of different look. We're trying to be a little bit more well-rounded, which is good, but we're still getting the hang of things. And again, defense is breaking in a lot of new starters, especially in the middle of the defense, the second level. Got a lot of new kids playing linebacker. But our nose tackle and our defensive ends have some experience that we like, and we've got some experience in the secondary with a couple of kids. But I think we're breaking in full time. I think 7 or 8 new starters breaking in on defense. So, so we took some growing pains. We did a lot of good things. I mean, Bay City Central has an offensive lineman going to Western Michigan. I bet across the board they were about 265. So that's probably the biggest line we'll see. And we really did a nice job against inside run with a team that was much bigger than us. So we did a lot of good things, even though we gave up some points. And, the stuff we had trouble with, I think, are correctable. But yeah, Drew Hickman is back there. He kind of captains our secondary. We'll move him around from week to week as we see fit. But Drew is a good signal caller back there on the back end for the defense. Jake Defalco, who entered our starting lineup last year towards the end of the season as a sophomore, he is now in our middle linebacker position. So he's kind of handling the box and doing a good job. And Wes Atkinson is a 2-year starter at defensive end. And then big Isaiah Moore at nose tackle. He's our biggest kid at probably about 285. So he's a big plugger there for us in the middle of the defense. So we have some pieces. It's just getting everybody else caught up.
All right. Changing schemes. What were you doing, and what have you added specifically?
So, we've always been a high pressure defense, and we bring a lot of heat, and we've always prided ourselves on doing that. And we just want to be a little bit more diversified to be able to get into some more, zone looks and disguise some things a little bit as well.
So less blitzing.
I don't know, less blitzing, but maybe just, a little bit more calculated when we're doing. We still want to play with our ears pinned back and be a team that's known for pressure, but we want to be able to be a little bit more diversified.
With the last decade emergence of 7 versus 7 in the summer and in off seasons, does that make more pressure for defensive coaches because you're getting a much better look at passing the ball in Michigan than you did 10 years ago? Certainly.
Yeah. We've been throwing the ball around a lot lately. So it definitely helps just the offenses get a head start in their passing game for sure. I think most of the teams in our league still want to hang their hat in the run game. I know we sure do. It obviously does give the offense a little bit of an edge there for passing game installation. But at the same token, it gives your secondary time to work on coverages and how we want to fit things. So, it helps both sides out.
Let's go to the other side of the ball offensively. Let's talk about the offensive line first.
Yeah. So offensive line has 4 kids coming back. Brennan Johnson and Joe Ferdon and Wyatt Morgan. Those 4 guys are seniors, and those 4 guys have been on varsity since their freshman year. And they were all spot starters as freshmen, especially as the year went on. And I think we had 2 of those guys in the starting lineup as freshmen when we beat St. Clair in the playoffs. So those kids have played a lot of football, and now they're seniors and they're well polished, and they're, 3-year starters, 4-year varsity guys. Wes Atkinson, he's a 2-way guy. And Wes moved into left tackle for us. And he got a lot of starts last year too. When we had the injury bug, Wes probably started 2 or 3 games last year on the offensive line as well. So there's a lot of kids on that group returning. And then Nate Mcchesney, that kid was just born to play offensive line. He's a sophomore, and he's our center, and he's doing a fantastic job for us. So the offensive line is a very good unit to operate our offense behind. Lance Brialette is our quarterback. He filled in handily for Micah Miller last year when Micah went down with his elbow. So, Lance got 5 starts as a true freshman, which is very rare, as you know. So now he's coming into his sophomore season, but he's not playing like a sophomore because he's got 5 varsity starts under his belt. So, that's a positive. Drew Hickman, he plays in our slot position, and Drew did an outstanding job for us last year until we lost him with a collarbone against Corona. Drew's a dynamic 2-way player. He is, we think, a Division I type of prospect. He's a 4.0 student as well. So, Drew can do just about anything, and he's a 3-sport athlete for us at Brandon, which we love, our multi-sport athletes. Danny Protiva is playing some slot as well. Danny was a freshman last year. Now he's a sophomore. So Danny's got a better beat on things, and he's playing both sides of the ball a little bit as well. So, Danny's added a veteran mix again, even though he's only a sophomore. We brought 2 freshmen up that we like that are getting reps on both sides of the ball. Luke Hansen and Carter Aquilina, those 2 kids, they're only 9th graders, but they're playing good football. We like them. Landon Zull is a big bruising fullback. Like I said, I think he went 19 for 146 and got in the end zone a couple times. Drew scored 4 times. Landon scored the other 2, and then Luke Hansen scored on a block punt. So, that was our scoring last week. And then Jacob Ryson is splitting time with Landon at fullbacks, and he's a speed guy. So we kind of have thunder and lightning combination back there. And then we've got some nice kids rotating in outside receivers, 2 seniors. Most of the reps out there, Michael Weiss and Joey Norris, and those 2 kids have come on nicely as seniors who haven't seen a lot of the football field in the past. So we like where the offense is at.
Oakland Press has identified one of your players as the top 50 in the county. He's a wide receiver. Talk a little bit about him.
Yeah, Drew Hickman. So yeah, Drew's going into his junior year. He's been an all-league player as a freshman and a sophomore. He's an outstanding competitor. We can play Drew just about anywhere on the field you need him to. And again, he's a captain this year, voted a captain along with Joe Ferdon and Brendan Johnson. But when you're voted captain as a junior, I think that tells you something. And he's just a great kid in the building, in the classroom, tremendous leader for our football team. And he's a kid that loves playing football for Brandon. We're fortunate to have him.
Special teams, kicking game. You only, I think, missed 1 extra point, if I'm not mistaken. Saturday.
Yeah. We got a big, strong-legged senior kicker, Ben Quirio. Ben kicked for us last year. He's a soccer player, defenseman, big kid, big kid. Well, spent a lot of time in the gym, added a lot of strength to his kicking game. He's a heck of a defenseman for the soccer team. Soccer coach lends him out to us on Fridays. But Ben's got a strong leg. And he can hit a pretty good field goal too in practice. So I think if he's ever called upon, he'll answer the call.
High school teams that don't have kickers today are almost at a disadvantage. But again, 15 years ago, a high school team with a kicker was an unbelievable advantage. It's really changed.
Yeah, it really has. I remember back in the early days coaching. I mean, we're out there running a gong show, auditioning kids to kick, and now it seems like I've been blessed. We had great kickers when I was at Stony Creek, and now getting here to Brandon, we've had a tremendous kicking game, every year. So it's been something we've been very fortunate with for sure.
All right, we're talking on Tuesday night, so obviously you're playing Thursday last week, Thursday again this week. You're playing at Atwood against Flint Southwestern. Used to be a very difficult place to play, and also a difficult team, which was the Valley at the time. They're not in the Valley, are they?
No, they're now in the Genesee area conference, the GAC.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they've come, I don't want to say they've come backwards, but it's not what it was. It's a mere shadow of what used to be. Is that fair? I think they're trying very hard. You can tell they're struggling to get kids out. And I think, I think Flint is, as a community, is losing some of their better athletes to the surrounding schools, are coming in and getting some of their kids out of there that are, going to some of the other schools around the area. So I think they are certainly affected by that. They've got some kids that can get after it, though. They've got some impressive skill kids. And, if you let them get to the outside or get deep on you, it's going to be a problem. They struggled last week with Schwartz Creek. And, I think they're still, emerging and trying to find their niche as a program right now. Now it's Flint. They're the Flint Jaguars. And so, I think they're breaking away from calling themselves Flint Southwestern. I'm not exactly sure. But they've Andre Weathers, who played at University of Michigan on their 97 team. He's their head coach, and he certainly does a good job and knows football. It's just, getting those kids organized and getting them on the field and getting them ready to go. If you, I worked the Detroit Public School League for years as a referee, and everybody got recruited because there wasn't, even if you had an 0-9 team in the city, there was 1 or 2 kids on every team that that could play at Michigan State or Michigan. That's just the nature of the beast. And I think that's probably true as well in the Flint area. That's always been the case up there.
Yeah, they definitely got some guys, and we played them last year, the same week 2 last year at our place, and they definitely made some plays and flashes of time. So you got to be prepared for every opponent and take them on.
Briefly run down the Metro this year. Where you think you sit?
Yeah, this league has been a lot of fun since the Metro split into 2 and went 6 teams one way, 6 teams the other. In our division, the lower enrollment group, a different team has won that division, every year. Goodrich has won it. We've won it. Lake Fenton's won it now. So going into this 4th year of this division split, it's interesting. We think Lake Fenton is very good again. They've got some big pieces back from last year. We think Corunna is going to be very good again. They've got a lot of pieces back. We like where we're at. We like, I like the start we're off to, and Goodrich obviously is a very well coached football team. Tom does a great job up at Goodrich with his kids. They are always ready to play. Clio and Owasso have new coaches. They've struggled of late, but obviously new coaches bring a new attitude. And if they can get their kids going and up to par, it should make for a competitive league.
Fenton is not on your schedule this year.
No, the upper half of that division we only see in the we see Holly week 9, and they're playing good ball right now. Billy's got them. Billy Keenest is their head coach now, and Billy's coming over from Troy Athens, was at Berkeley before that. He's an Oxford guy, so they're running the ball at Holly pretty well. So that's going to be a tough game week 9. I think Holly's kind of juiced up right now for their season, which is good for those kids. They've been working hard. But yeah, week 8 is a crossover. So whatever place we're in week 8 with the other upper division, that's who we'll see.
Should point out Billy's dad was the longtime PR director for the Detroit Lions when they were in the Silverdome.
Yeah, he's a great guy. We had him come in and talk to our players a few years ago, and he told some great stories. Yeah, he's an outstanding gentleman of the game for sure.
Anything we should know about your team that we don't?
I know they're just a fun group. They've got a great personality. They're coming together. As a unit, they're gelling. I think there's a lot of pieces on this team that can play and get on the field and give us meaningful reps. And we're young, but they're learning on the fly, and they're just building confidence. I think every day they're a fun group. We're having a good time.
How many are you carrying on varsity?
36, 37.
JV?
JV, we're up around 25. And
so numbers are up then.
Yeah, numbers a little bit up from last year. Yeah, we had a smaller JV group last year for sure. And we're playing around a little bit better with using that 5th quarter rule and letting kids kind of play up and down. And, that helped our JVs out last week too, just to, have a little bit more competitive group and get some of our sophomores, that are up on varsity, some real-time reps. It was good. We're going to keep doing that.
We have, right after this interview, we have Jesse Johnson, the new athletic director. Talk to him a little bit. Now you get an athletic director who's a 8-year college coach in various positions, and obviously played at Michigan State for Mark D'Antonio. That's got to be a plus for you, because all of a sudden you got an AD that really understands the premise and the process.
Yeah, it's fun, and our previous AD, Chris was a football guy too, with a good football background. And it's great when you have a guy in that chair that you can go and bounce things off of. And he's been great. He's been sending me little clips and little Twitter clips and this play and that play. And it's been fun. It's been a good experience so far. We're enjoying working together.
Good. Well, listen, I appreciate your time. And we look forward to doing this every week.
All right, man. Thanks, Fred. Go Blackhawks.
Hi, welcome back. We're talking with Jesse Johnson, who is the new athletic director at Brandon High School. Jesse comes back to us from Ovid Elsie, and quite a local background. You're a Durand railroader from the start. So first of all, I appreciate you spending some time with us on Brandon Replay. And how long have you been sitting in that chair?
Total of, 12 days now?
That's it's kind of musical chairs.
Yeah.
Mike Watson, the former athletic director at Oxford, who through the Catholic League is back at Ovid Elsie. You obviously opened up here, and Chris Deans, who was the former Brandon athletic director, moved back to his hometown to Corona. So how did you hear about the opening?
I'm actually great friends with Chris Dinas, the former AD here at Brandon. He married one of my great friends from high school in Durand.
Okay.
So when he was going to Corona, he actually gave me a call and said, "Hey, you should apply for this. I've heard nothing but good things about this community, this school district, this athletic program." And as soon as he told me about it, I knew it was something I needed to look into. And luckily enough, it all ended up, I'm here. I'm sitting in this seat now.
So talk a little bit about your philosophy and what you're looking, what can the community expect from you?
First off, what the community can expect from me is, from this athletic program, is our kids are going to play hard. They're going to do it the right way. Do I want to win? Absolutely. I'm probably one of the most competitive people you're going to find. But we're going to do it the right way. We're going to conduct ourselves the right way. We're going to, on the field and off the field. And I want this program to be something, when you look at every team, you look at any Brandon school district team, that they say those kids play their butt off and they do it the right way.
The business of athletic administration has become more difficult over the years. And part of that discussion, is it more functional, or is it more diplomatic, or is it a combination of both as being the athletic director?
You got to wear a lot of hats. That's what I have found. I think you have to be a coach to the coaches, a mentor to the athletes, a diplomat to the community. There's just a lot of different hats you need to wear if you want to be successful in this position.
Have you coached at all?
Yeah, I did. I actually coached college football for 8 years.
Where?
I started off at the Citadel down in South Carolina. When I got done playing, I went to Central Michigan for 2 years as a defensive graduate assistant. left there, was at Syracuse in New York for a year, went back to Central Michigan when they were creating a brand new position for the MAC conference, a recruiting coordinator job. I was the first one in the MAC conference, built that program and was there for a year. That's when Mark D'Antonio at Michigan State, my college football head coach, he gave me a call and said, "Are you ready to come home?" And that was an easy conversation. And I spent my last 3 years of college coaching for Mark D'Antonio at Michigan State.
We should point out that you played safety, if I'm mistaken, at Michigan State.
Yep, safety.
You came in under John L. Smith.
Yep.
And then obviously Mark came aboard, and you had, I think you had at least, if you were under his tenure in the beginning, you had at least one Big Ten championship, right?
Yeah, Big Ten championship in 2010. The first one in, I want to say it was 25 years, was my senior year.
Us fellow Spartans understand all the idiosyncrasies.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, 8 years in the college game, what decided to make you get out?
Well, when I was a graduate assistant, I got my master's degree in sports administration and business. And just decided that was kind of always going to be my backup plan, as I wanted to become a high school athletic director. I always thought I was going to coach for my career, and that's what I was going to do. But I wanted to have that backup plan in case something happened with my family, or there's just something in my personal life that I had to step away from coaching. And so Coach D'Antonio retired, Coach Tucker came in, and Coach Tucker wanted to bring his own guys in, which I understand completely. So he let me go. And right when he let me go, COVID hit. So all universities were on a hiring freeze.
Right.
So I called, visited people, couldn't find a job anywhere because nobody was hiring. It hit May of the COVID year, and I still didn't find anything. So I said, you know what, it's time to use my degree, get out of the profession a little bit. I wanted to still be involved in athletics, and this was the best way to do it. What's
your undergraduate degree in?
History.
Okay. So teaching was probably going to be a part of that plan B then at some point,
yep.
Right? Okay.
Yep.
Does it, looking in the rearview mirror, was there any regrets?
None at all. Actually, I'm newly married. I was just telling my wife how happy I am right now. Did I love coaching college ball? Absolutely. Coaching is who I am as a person. But the 100-hour work days for 50 weeks a year, literally 100-hour work weeks for 50 weeks a year, it's hard to have a stable family and have a good family life when you're working them type hours. So I understand the athletic director, you work a ton of hours, but you can't work more than what I was working in my previous job.
A lot of new athletic directors, and I'll use the sort of under 40 term, a lot of guys that have gone into sports administration never coached.
Yeah.
They get sports administration degrees, they understand those kinds of processes. And sometimes modern coaches, younger coaches, I'm an old guy, so I understand that the premise, but my point is that sometimes the message gets lost in the shuffle. You know, you're worried about all kinds of things. Having your coaching background is certainly a good thing for your coaches, but that also doesn't that also mean that they've got to be a little more on their toes, because it's a little hard to pass the buck or not be accurate with what they're having discussions?
Yeah, I think I would say that's my strongest suit that I have is I'm good with the coaches. I'm good with the athletes. I'd like to say I'm a coach. If you're a coach, I feel like I'm an AD you'd like to work with.
Okay.
Not work for, work with.
All right.
It's them and I and the athletes working to build something special. And if we're not all on the same page, we're in trouble. So I think that's probably what I would say my strength is that coaching background. I can relate to what they're dealing with.
I asked that question because the attrition, if you look at federation numbers, both players and coaches, but especially coaches, you're down almost 30% in terms of being able to qualify. There's high school jobs literally now going without applications in some cases. Yeah. Certainly not for primary sports, but for secondary sports, it's not unusual to get, one guy apply for a job.
Yeah.
And that makes your job tougher because you got to fill a position. At the same time, you may not have somebody that's qualified. And that becomes a nightmare, I would think, for an AD.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've run into that a few times over the last couple of years. But you need to turn over rocks. You need to call people that you trust to give you references and say, you know what, I'm not interested in the job, but I know somebody that would be great for it. give this person a call. You can't settle for, as in this position, if you want to be successful, you can't settle. I need to be able to turn over rocks and reach out to the community and find who the best candidate is and try to get them here for our kids.
Over at Elsie, did they ever get their turf bin?
Yep, they have their first game. I believe it's this week. So
if you want some fun reading, go back over the last 6 months and read the community's desire to put AstroTurf into Ovid Elsie. And it was certainly a split conversation about whether it was needy, especially with, I think there were some comments in the public made about leaky ceilings and things of that nature. But yeah, compare Ovid Elsie and Brandon a little bit. Are they pretty similar?
Brandon's about double the size.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, Brandon's a little bit bigger, but as far as the people, very similar. There's good people. They're hardworking people. I'm so far, I'm really enjoying Brandon, and I can't say anything bad about Ovid Elsie. I enjoyed my time there. I enjoyed the people there, the administration I worked with. But at the same point, I felt like I made the right choice for myself being here at Brandon.
Cool. Are you planning to move to town?
Yeah, that's the plan. We're looking right now. We're actually living in Corunna, so I've got about a 50-minute drive to work every day. So we're looking.
Okay. Anything else we need to know about you?
I'm excited to be here. I'm really excited to be here, and this is a place I want to be. This isn't a stepping stone job for me. That's what I want the community to know, and I want our kids to know, our coaches to know. This isn't a stepping stone job for me. This is a job I wanted. It's a destination job that I plan on being here for a long time and putting roots down.
Cool. Well, listen, we appreciate the time you've talked to us. And